For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205 371 2227. Once again, that is 371 2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. How would you like to live where you love in the state of Alabama? Whether it is you're upsizing, downsizing, retiring at the beach, or relocating for your job, then you are going to want to contact Celeste Hagler, owner of First Class Real Estate South Home Group, with brokers in Tuscaloosa, Orange Beach, and Huntsville. They can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Once again, that is 205-861-5698, and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals anywhere across the state of Alabama. Happy Thursday! We are one step closer to the weekend, and it is Valentine's weekend as well. Hope everyone is doing well on this Thursday. We have a huge guest joining us in about 20 minutes from now. That will be former Mississippi State head coach Andy Cannizaro to go over what he's doing now and to also talk about the preparation when you are a head coach of a baseball team getting ready for the opening weekend opening weekend of the season that also begins on Friday. So we are here, and hey, baseball begins tomorrow for those of you that are fans of college baseball. And Heath, let's go ahead and talk about the National Day of today and the national history of today, as today is February the 12th. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh man, just busy as always, and just running and going, and but I'm not have to run and go in snow. So there is a tad bit of snow left in my neighbor's yard. It's out of my yard, but there's a tad bit left in my neighbor's yard. And it's only because they cleared their driveway and packed it all up. But
So I've got to ask you, are your kids back in school?
yeah, they went back. I guess they went back Monday. They went back Monday, um, which was kind of tough because the Super Bowl was Sunday night, and then you've been out for 2 weeks, and there's the Super Bowl. Everybody wants to stay up late, and so yeah, it was just a little crazy, but yeah, it's things are almost back to normal. Playing catch up. I'm already busy as it is, but now it's just insane. So
Right.
I'm just trying to get a lot of things done. So, but Steven, here's the question I got to ask you. We didn't have a show on Tuesday, and and,
Yeah, we
and uh,
did. Yeah, we
had a
did.
show on Tuesday, but we didn't have one yesterday. But I was going to ask you. I learned yesterday that we on Tuesday was Red Tuesday. Have you ever heard of Red Tuesday?
No.
Okay, Red Tuesday is the day where people break up with each other. It's the Tuesday before Valentine's. They break up with each other because they don't want to buy a gift or they don't have the money to buy a gift. Now, I know you've got like 6 to 18 girlfriends on the side. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, did you break up with any of your
No.
girlfriends on the side because you didn't want to buy them a Valentine's gift?
No, dude, that is so crappy. That
Well,
is so
man, you got to
that
buy
is
a lot
so
of Valentine's
jerky.
gifts then. How
Dude,
you gonna
that's
do?
so
How you gonna have all those dates on Valentine's, Stephen? How you gonna
dude,
pull that off?
that's so jerky and rude and just downright an asshole if you do that. There, I
Wow.
said it. I said it. Well,
Wow.
I'm
Stinger
gonna
Show
break
just
up
went
with you
PG.
because I don't want to spend my money on you, dude.
Well, if you
That's.
don't have any money to spend,
But still,
I
man. I
mean,
mean, you can get a card.
yeah, you can. You can do something. Here's the thing. This is, I'm gonna step on some toes this morning. I have no idea what my hair is doing this morning, but anyway, I'm not worried about it. Now I look like a Lego man. Um, here's the thing that I'm gonna step on some toes with. Valentine's Day is the same day every year. It didn't move. It's kind of like Christmas. You know it's coming. It's December 25th. We know when it is. Valentine's. It's February 5th. We know it's coming. Church on Sunday, every Sunday. We know it's not moving. It's not like they're saying, oh, we're going to have church for a little bit here and not on this day. Like, oh, we're going to start an hour and a half late here and not on this date. We're going to start 10 minutes early than we. No, church is the same time. Valentine's is the same time. Christmas is the same time. We don't
Right.
move it. You just need to prepare.
Yeah. All right. So Heath, let's go ahead, and I was hoping that your kids were still out of school because we
Oh,
will
gosh.
begin with this right here. Can you tell me what movie was released on this day in 1993? It opened across the United States and starred Bill Murray. And Heath left. Wow, okay, he must be having internet issues up there in North Mississippi. I don't know. Heath, you left us, man. What happened?
I have no idea what happened, but you were asking me about a movie.
All right, so what film was released on this day in 93 that starred Bill Murray and was directed by Harold Ramis?
I know Bill Murray was in Groundhog Day, and Harold Ramis was director of that. Um, Let me think.
February the 12th of 1993, Groundhog
Yeah,
Day
there you go.
opened across the United States, starring Bill Murray and directed by Harold Ramis. So I was hoping that your kids were still in school so that we could play off of that.
Oh man, it did feel like Groundhog Day with the snow on the ground because it
Yeah.
was just the same thing. Wake up, Dad, I'm hungry. Here's some food that we made. Let's go out in the snow. Dad, can you come out in the snow with us? I'll come out for a little bit or a lot, whatever it was that day. And then, it was just one of the, you got to take off those wet clothes. Put those wet clothes in the washer. We got to wash them again. Dad, I'm hungry. Dad, can we watch something together? Dad, can we watch a movie? Dad, it was the same day over and over and over. But you know what? We had fun. We had a ton of fun.
All right. Today, on National Day of Today, we have one thing. And Heath, it is surrounding food, but I've never heard of this. It is National Plum Pudding Day.
Did you say plum or rum?
Plum.
Okay.
Plum.
All right. Yeah. Plum pudding. I've never heard of that either. Come to think about it, I don't think I've ever heard of rum pudding.
It is a rich steamed dessert made with dried fruits, suet, and spices.
Interesting.
Now,
What was that
I'm
that we
not
talked about, that peach dish a while back?
Melba,
Yeah,
peach
peach
Melba.
melba. Like, I
Yeah,
still want to try that.
yeah.
That sounded good. Peach
All
melba.
right, Heath. When we move to the history, can you tell me what was named on this day in 1773? And it is a major city in the southeast.
1773. I mean, what's the question?
What state and city is named on this day in 1773?
Well, Georgia was founded. It's the oldest university in the SEC. It was founded back in the 1700s. I can't remember when. Um,
What state and what city?
I'll just say Atlanta, Georgia. I have no idea.
General James Oglethorpe lands at present day Savannah, Georgia, naming the new colony Georgia in honor of King George II.
There you go. Wow. All right. Stephen, have you ever been to Savannah?
I want to, but no.
I spent part of
That's
my
on my
honeymoon.
list to go.
Yeah, I spent part of my honeymoon in Savannah. Matter of fact, I want to say there's like 32 squares, like town squares in Savannah, 32, 38, something like that. But anyway, one of the squares that we stayed on was the square where they shot Forrest Gump, where,
Right.
the bench scene. And so we stayed there for a couple of days. And Savannah had a big underground fire. This is back in like 2008.
Right.
But there were like manhole covers that were like blown off from the pressure, and like cars that were parked by those manhole covers were like melted tremendously.
Right.
That's how hot it was, the underground fire. But it knocked out power to like half the city. But my wife wanted to go eat at some Mediterranean belly dancing place. It was Mediterranean food, but they had belly dancers there that night. And I was like, "What? What is this?" And it had no air conditioning.
Oh.
Yeah, because the power was out. We had to eat by candlelight. It's summertime in Georgia. It's like August in Georgia.
Right.
No power. So yeah, just imagine that.
Right.
It wasn't fun.
Now, Heath, I did want to go to Savannah, Georgia until I read one of the national histories that we weren't able to get to a couple of weeks ago. Did you happen to hear what happened around Savannah, Georgia in 1958?
Man, Savannah's got so much history. 58 space race stuff is heating up.
This will make you like this. I mean, it's like, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to go there now.
I don't know, is it an insane asylum or something? I know it's one of the spookiest towns. What happened?
Two planes were about to collide, and in order for them to miss one another, they had to eject. And instead of ejecting the person out of the helicopter or the B-1 bomber, they dropped an atomic bomb. And yes, and the FBI and all of them searched extensively for 30 days to try to find that atomic bomb, and they never found it. So, somewhere around Savannah, Georgia, probably still to this day, there is a U.S. atomic bomb just waiting there for anybody to find.
This sounds like a really bad '90s movie that like has like John Travolta and Nick Cage in it.
Yeah, I know.
This sounds terrible. Wasn't John Travolta and Nick Cage in Face Off?
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie. Um, wow, I got nothing for you on that. I do
I'm
know
like,
over in Europe, you hear about that all the time. A random bomb will go off in a field or on a farm, or they'll find one in a ditch, close to a school or in the middle of a town or whatever. And it's like, oh, this was dropped in the 40s, and this town started becoming something back in the late 60s. And yeah, we just found it. Yeah, and they have to go dig it up and take it out.
the Tybee Island Mid-Air Collision, February the 5th of 1958, the U.S. Air Force lost a 7,600-pound Mark 15 nuclear bomb in the waters of Tybee Island near Savannah, Georgia. During a night practice exercise, an F-86 fighter plane collided with a B-47 bomber carrying the large weapon. After several unsuccessful searches, the weapon was declared lost in the Wassaw Sound off the shores of Tybee Island there in Savannah, Georgia. And there is a picture of what it looks like.
Okay. I'm
So,
just going to throw this out there. No, I'm not
so
getting political. I'm not getting
take
political at all.
Savannah off my list.
Yeah. Here's something. I won't say any names, but everyone knows who I'm talking about. How about we mention to a person that is in a federal office who takes pride in doing things on a large scale and making things happen, and just say, Mr. President, we lost this bomb. And I could hear you like, what do you mean we lost this bomb? He said, what do you mean you stopped looking after 30 days?
Yep.
And he would find it and talk about, this thing was lost. What'd you say, 58?
58, yep.
So this thing's been gone for almost 70 years. So yeah. They lost this thing 68 years ago. I'm the one that found it. Yeah, and he could brag about it. So he likes things like that. He likes the scavenger hunt things.
In 2001, the bomb was thought by the Department of Energy to lie buried between 5 and 15 feet of silt at the bottom of the Wassaw Sound.
So they did find it?
They did find it, but they can't bring it up because, like I said, it is a nuclear bomb.
Jeez.
All right, so take Savannah off the list.
I'm still going. You got to die of something anyway, just go enjoy yourself. If it happens, it happens.
Right.
Wow.
You never know what you're going to hear on the Stingray Show, man.
That's insane. So what year did they find it?
2004. It took them from 58 to 2004 to find it.
What in the world is going on? This is insane. Yeah. Steven, this is kind of like my day every day. Here's a fun fact, everybody. Here's the behind the scenes. Like Steven and I talked on the phone last night about the show. I asked Steven, like, hey, what time are we starting? He said 8:30. I completely forgot. I had a million things to do. I was doing a million things. I got a million things going through my mind. I got up this morning at like 6:15, which is late for me. And I started going through things and just hammering and going. Took the kids to school, came back, hammer. Right before the show starts, right before 8:30, I'm like, hey, did you say we were starting at 8:30? So, I mean, that's my life right now.
Right.
I'm just a little all over the place because I got so much going on. Can you imagine the same thing with this bomb? Like,
I know.
I would not rest until that thing was found. If for some reason, like, you know what, we've done everything, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, whose call was that?
I know.
That's
All
insane.
Right. Heath, 2 movie things. Can you tell me what year the first feature-length film shot in Hollywood came out?
What was the first?
What year was the first feature-length film shot in Hollywood?
Man. Hollywood's old, man. But feature-length film is kind of the giveaway. Because you had the short films, you had the silent films, you had the I have no idea, Steven. Hit me with it.
1914.
I was going to guess in the 1920s, so I was a little bit off.
And it was called The Squaw Man.
The Squall Man. What up, Squall Man?
Yep.
We should give an award for the Squall Man of the SEC every year or
Yeah.
once a week. I don't know. I don't even know what the Squall Man is. I'll let you watch that movie. Tell me what it's about, and we'll start handing out the Squall Man award.
All right. Heath, my mother would absolutely love this next thing. Can you tell me what opened in theaters on this day in 1931? And it was a huge, huge version of this movie and really set forward the Universal Studio monsters.
Probably King Kong. No. I wouldn't think Godzilla was around then. I think Godzilla came out in the 50s.
No. And it's a Universal Studio monster.
It's probably like Frankenstein or a vampire or a werewolf or the mummy, the Gila monster.
You may tell you,
Yeah.
my name is Count Dracula.
There you go. Vampire movie.
Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi, opens in theaters. It was based on the 1924 stage play Dracula, which was adopted from the 1897 novel Dracula by Bram Stoker. Now, here's the fun part. This movie was released in Spanish language and in English. Now, here's the deal.
Guys, the halftime show this year. Oh, bad jokes. Bad jokes.
Now, here's the deal. The English and Spanish versions were filmed together using the same set. But the English version was filmed during the days, and the Spanish version was filmed at night.
Wow. That's interesting. I wonder why.
Because they wanted to do the same thing. All right, so Heath, we have got to get to our very special guest. So I am going to run a quick advertising from one of our wonderful sponsors, and then we will start the nuts and bolts of the Stingray Show, okay?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. You know, I tell people when they come in, you know, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. You know, we've got the capability to process it, make it. You know, if you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. You know, we do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. You know, people call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You know, you want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. This is the Stingray Show, and now let's get in to the nuts and bolts of the Stingray Show. And today we are going to be interviewing a player who played college baseball at Tulane and helped Tulane reach the 2001 College World Series for the first time in school history. After college, he went on to the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. Since retiring as a player, he was a scout for the Yankees, the LSU hitting coach and recruiting coordinator for 2 seasons, 2015 and 2016, and was hired as the head coach at Mississippi State on November the 5th of 2016. Today on the Stingray Show, we are catching up with Andy Cannizaro right here on the Stingray Show.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Heath, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, we want to welcome you back inside the Stingray Show. And our guest this morning is going to be none other than Andy Cannizaro. Man, Heath, what are some of your fondest memories of Coach Cannizaro there at Mississippi State?
I shared this with him last time he was on the show, and I'm going to bring it up again. I took out Coach by accident after the very first game in Starkville that year. It was a little bit cold Friday night opener, and it was after the game. And a guy that I grew up and played baseball with and against growing up, his son was playing for Mississippi State. And I was there talking to my buddy Gary Blaylock, and I turned around to leave, and I put my shoulder square in the sternum of Coach, and I felt so bad. I had my kids with me. It wasn't any ill intent or anything. And he was so gracious and so nice. And I apologized. And after I apologized, like the second time, I was like, oh, so sorry. Are you okay? And then I looked, I was like, is that Coach? So, yeah, I felt bad. I took out Coach after his first game, and he won.
So, Heath, let's go ahead and talk about this upcoming baseball season and a little bit about his career. Please help us welcome to the Stingray Show, Mr. Andy Cannizaro. Coach Cannizaro, how are things with you, my friend?
What's going on, guys? Everything's going really well, and just getting ready for this upcoming college baseball season. And obviously with my job now with the Dodgers, and, stay very busy during the spring between the amateur scouting part of my job and then into the later spring with the player development coaching part of my job. So it's pretty much go time here. And, it's going to be pedal to the metal here for the next several months. And, looking forward to another outstanding baseball season. And, but thank you guys for having me on today. I love coming on your show, enjoy talking baseball, and love what you guys do for the college game, and especially Mississippi State.
Thank you.
And Coach, with all that being said, what do you mainly cover? Are you looking at high school guys? Are you looking at college guys? How is that? I'm sure you do a little of both, but where do you spend majority of your time? The college kids or the high school kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously, from the amateur side of scouting, we are covering, our umbrella reaches basically every part of amateur baseball that you can imagine, right? We're covering, all the way down from the high school side of things and kids that are 17, 18, 19 years old at various high schools around the country. We cover every level of, Division III, Division II, Division I baseball, junior college baseball as well. And really anything that would fall under the amateur baseball for the July amateur draft every year. And so that's what I do. I've got a territory that I cover. My primary responsibility is the state of Louisiana. I also cover parts of North Carolina. And then in addition to seeing players in South Carolina, Georgia, really Mississippi, Alabama as well. So, I have a really big area and territory that I can get out and see really good players, and just an area that's loaded with high level amateur baseball and kids that are going to go on to be tremendous draft picks in the July draft.
So,
And Coach, let me follow this up real quick, Stephen. Coach, I coach a lot of ball. I'll be coaching 3 teams. You're trying to get me to coach a 4th team here. Yeah, I know. But with that being said, I want you to repeat those ages. You're not coming out to look at anyone until they're what?
That's right.
17, 18, 19 years old.
That's exactly right. Yes, the first time that we're going to lay eyes on somebody from a draft standpoint is going to be probably 17 years old, right? I mean, those guys are just completing their junior seasons in high school, and that summer in between their junior and senior year from an amateur draft standpoint is really important. And so, we're getting out and seeing all the biggest travel ball tournaments. We're running all over the country, seeing guys play. But yes, our eyes aren't necessarily on anybody until they get to be a senior in high school from a professional draft point standpoint. So, I can't ever remember one time me ever asking anybody who they played for at 8 years old, or how many rings did they win at 11 years old, and did they play till midnight on a Sunday night in the Perfect Game Championship in South Haven, Mississippi, or in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and certainly have never asked anybody a batting average or how hard they threw at that young of an age. So
that was going to be the next joke I was going to make, is because my son's 15 now, but I remember people were like, this kid's throwing 80 and he's 12 years old. I was like, and when he's 18, he's going to be probably throwing 81, 82. Like, he peaked early. It's not that big a deal.
He's still going to be throwing 80. I think the human body, and from a muscle standpoint and a ligament standpoint and a tendon standpoint, it's only supposed to throw a certain miles per hour at a certain age. And I think there's just a really fine line between all this like velocity training and kids trying to throw really hard at an early age now. And do I think it works? Yeah, they do. They do throw harder. And there are things that you could do to increase your velocity. But I think it always comes with a risk, and in terms of how long is it going to last, and can your joints and ligaments handle that type of strain on a young body? So, from an amateur draft standpoint, we're looking for young guys that are super projectable, that have loose arms, and deliveries and arm actions are really good and really clean, and guys that are going to be able to grow into their body and maintain, a healthy arm for as long as possible.
So with the season beginning tomorrow, who are a couple of guys that you've got your eye on going into the season from the SEC, please?
Yeah, when you're talking SEC baseball guys, you're talking about the best players in the country.
Yeah.
You've got every program in the league, cares about baseball. They've invested resources into the game, and they've all got nice stadiums and big recruiting budgets and all the bells and whistles nowadays. So they're attracting the best players, and you really can't go wrong with starting, at some of the places that I've been at in the past. And the first spot I'll talk about is LSU, and obviously coming off a national championship last year, they're right here in my backyard. And guys, when I tell you that is a college baseball team that is loaded with talent, and they're going to make another really deep postseason run, and I would expect them to be hanging out in Omaha when it's all said and done. And then at that point, it's just a matter of, do you get certain breaks that allow you to win certain close ball games, those kind of things. But I would certainly expect them, to compete for another national championship this year. And, they're led, offensively. Their preseason All-American center fielder, Derek Curiel, had a tremendous freshman year last year. He's a draft-eligible sophomore. He's a guy that, it's going to go out and have a great year this year, and will probably be a really good draft pick come July. So he's a guy that I would certainly keep an eye out on. Shortstop, Stephen Monster Milam, is a guy that's been there the last couple of years and has had a really good freshman and sophomore year at LSU. And he's, primed to have a gigantic junior year for those guys. And, there's a slew of transfers that have come over through the portal at LSU. And they're just loaded top to bottom. And I haven't even touched on their pitching staff yet. And they've got so many good young arms, guys over there that are going to go out and throw it anywhere between 92 and 98 miles an hour with 2 and 3 secondary pitches that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", just big, gigantic guys. And obviously they have tremendous talent. But I can't speak highly enough about their head coach, Jay Johnson. He does such a wonderful job coaching his team and developing players and helping them get better once they get there. So they've really got it going on right now in Baton Rouge from a recruiting standpoint, from a facility standpoint. And then once guys get there, Jay Johnson has the ability to help guys get better and help those guys continue to get better once they show up to Baton Rouge. And then obviously you could stop right there where your guys are at in Starkville at Mississippi State. And, they're going to be led offensively by Ace Reese, who's going to have a gigantic year over there and might end up putting, Brent Rooker type numbers up for those guys this year and helping those guys, get back to Omaha and be on that national stage where they want to be. And then you could just continue to bounce around the league. And University of Texas is absolutely loaded this year. And their head coach, Jim Schlossnagle, does a tremendous job. And he's a guy that I've known since I was 17 years old and actually played for when I was at Tulane and, maintain a really good relationship with Slosh. And he's super excited about his team and, think they have some really good ingredients to make a big postseason run. A&M, I would look for those guys to bounce back this year. And then, Arkansas is going to be tremendous every single year. And it's just a matter of time before Dave Van Horn wins his first national championship as well. So it's it truly is a bloodbath of a league. And I always said from day one, you don't necessarily win the SEC. You just outlast everybody else. And you're the one that's standing at the end and your pitchers are healthy and you're playing well at the right time. And you just survive the league.
I do have a quick follow-up. What about Alabama's LeBron? Are you interested in him?
Oh, absolutely. And what a great name, right? Obviously, when you've got the name LeBron, people are going to pay attention to you. So, yes, he's a tremendous infielder. He's a guy that I know Alabama's counting on having a tremendous year for those guys and leading them offensively and playing great defense as well. So, the draft is a long way away, guys. It's not until July. And, guys have a long time to continue to develop and continue to get better and work on their deficiencies and help their teams, get back to Omaha and compete for a national championship. But, some of those guys that we have mentioned along the way are certainly going to be, leading their programs along the way, the face of their program. And, with those names come expectations and those guys are certainly going to be able to meet that.
Right.
Coach, you mentioned Coach Schlossnagle. He's such a special coach. He wins, and he wins at a super high level wherever he goes.
That's right.
What makes him so special? Why does he win at an elite level?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've known him for, since 1997. So what is that, going on 30 years now? And, he's a guy that, first of all, he has a tremendous amount of passion for college baseball. And he's a guy that's been in love with college baseball from day one. He's a program builder. He's a culture creator within his programs. Everywhere he's ever been, they've won really big, all the way back to his UNLV days as a first-time head coach, where he took over a program with a losing record. And within 2 years, they were winning 45 games and getting to regionals. And then obviously to TCU, where he took over another program that was floundering a little bit and certainly had those guys back in Omaha, several years in a row. And then on to the A&M, where he played for a national championship, and now the University of Texas. So he's got great players. He is a guy that develops great relationships with his players, and guys want to play hard for him each and every day. And, you develop those relationships where players don't want to let you down, and, they're willing to practice hard every day. He teaches them how to compete. He just talks about, day in, day out, do your job. A lot of, stuff that sounds like the old school Bill Belichick, right? Where it's like, hey, do your job. Don't worry about trying to create and, trying to do more than you're capable of doing. We've surrounded you with good players and a good team. And if everybody takes care of their job, we're going to be really good in the end. And that's what he's done, every step of the way. And now he's at Texas with a, tremendous amount of resources and money backing him and facilities and all those kind of things. So I would expect Texas to be competing for national championships as early as this year and for many, many years to come. And, certainly pull hard for him and want nothing but the best for his programs.
Coach, we're looking at so many great things right now in SEC baseball.
Yeah.
You're looking at Schlossnagle there at Texas. You're starting. We've seen the most consistent program in the SEC over the last decade there in Arkansas,
Yeah.
there in Fayetteville. You got Jay Johnson doing his thing down at LSU. Then you get Bron O'Connor to come in at Mississippi State. This is building up where these mega teams are forming. You still got guys like Coach Bianco down on Miss. You got guys like Coach West down at Georgia, down in Athens. You've got all this great baseball. I mean, you've got a legend at Florida that's still there and has been doing it for a while and has won a national title. You've got so many guys that have competed, if not
And
won.
don't forget about Vanderbilt as well. Tim Corbin.
Yeah. How can you forget Tim Corbin? But it's just kind of mounting and mounting and mounting here. And it's just they're one-upping each other all the way.
Right. That's right.
How do you compete in that arena? Because it is just overwhelming awesome. It's just going to be great for the fans. We're going to get great baseball. But as a coach going into those situations, like I would love to get in that situation. I want to test my wits and my best to go against the best. Yeah, who doesn't?
That's right. That's right. The thing I could say is it's not for everybody, right?
Oh, I agree with that.
Everybody. It is tough. It is competitive. It goes so far deeper than just the actual game days, right? I mean, you're talking about recruiting battles that go on 365 days a year and, just wanting to outdo the next university and indoor facility and, stadium and luxury boxes and, what can we do for our donors? And now in the NIL race, right? How can we go out and raise as much money as we can, every single day to make sure that we have a field full of dudes, right? That can help us win ball games and get to Omaha and compete for a national championship. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I just remember, my years in the SEC, going into Friday, being super prepared, knowing exactly what we were going to get into, spending all the previous few days going over scouting reports and pitching matchups and, bullpen guys and, who are we going to have ready to pinch hit in this scenario in case they bring in this left-hand pitcher in the 6th inning, who are we going to go to? And then you get into the competition on Friday. And then guys, I'm telling you, by the time Sunday ends and it's 5, 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening, you are absolutely mentally and physically drained from 27 innings of SEC baseball where you just want to go home, sit on the couch, zone out for a minute and just process and assess what in the world just happened the last 3 days. We played in front of 45,000 people for the last 3 days that were living and dying on every pitch. Should I have bunted Saturday in the 4th inning when we were down a run? And then you just start replaying things back and forth. And, it really takes you until Monday or Tuesday to recuperate from that weekend. And then the next thing you know, you're catching Southern Miss in a midweek action on Tuesday, and they are loaded with players. And you show up Pearl, and there's 10,000 people living and dying on every day and every game. And then you get through that game, and then here comes Ole Miss 2 days later. It's like, oh my God, you need a minute to catch your breath. And unfortunately, that time never comes, Yeah.
I know Steven's got a question. Pat McMahon pushed for this. It never happened. But he said, we need to go back to the old days of playing 2 on Saturday. Let's play Friday, 2 on Saturday. Let's move on.
Sure.
Would that have helped coaches?
I think it would have given you a 2-day, Sunday, Monday, where you could decompress, right? Yeah, I would love that idea because then it would give you Sunday to be able to hang out with your family, right? It would give you Sunday to get away from the game and being able to go to church on a Sunday and going to get some, food after church and decompressing and having a great family day on Sunday and getting back to work, Sunday night, Monday morning and Friday night grind with a 2-game Saturday and a Sunday off every weekend would be tremendous. And I think it would certainly, trend up in terms of family life and quality life that these coaches would be able to have for sure.
So, Coach, we are obviously in the first week of the opening season. It starts tomorrow. What is that excitement like as a player? Because you played at Tulane,
Right.
and then what is that like as a head baseball coach?
Yeah, it's just two different extremes, right? From a player standpoint, you're so fired up about getting out there to play. You've been grinding since September with fall baseball and practices and workouts and all the things that come along with, being in a top 25 college baseball program that cares about winning every day.
Right.
And you're finally ready to just go play somebody different, somebody new in a different jersey where there's going to be fans and energy and atmosphere and excitement and the smell of the ballpark and the smoke coming from the grill and the fans and the excitement, all the pregame festivities, those kind of things, the bunting that's set up around the field because it's opening day. From a player standpoint, you're just ready to roll.
Yeah.
And then from a coaching standpoint, it's a complete polar opposite, right? You're stressing the night before, hoping and praying that you've done enough to get your guys ready to play. Are you prepared? Have you prepared this guy enough? Has this guy had enough innings? Where are we at with this guy from a pitch count standpoint? Can we get him to 60, 70, 75 pitches opening Friday night? Because we don't want to go too hard too soon out of the gate and have a setback. We've got certain guys that have been competing for spots. This guy has certainly won the job at third base, and let's put this guy out there. But the next guy's played pretty well too. How do we get this guy innings so where we know that he's ready to go in case we need him at some point? So, player standpoint, you're jacked up, ready to play. Coaching standpoint, you stay up the whole night before, just hoping and praying that your team is prepared and ready to go, and you're trying to make sure that you've left, enough tickets for your family, and you've got family and friends that are coming and pass lists and all these kind of things. So, you just want to make sure that the grounds crew is ready to go, that the box is chalked, that the lines are straight, that the lights are going to come on when the people show up.
And the sprinklers don't.
The sprinklers don't come on in the middle of the game.
Right.
You've got so many things going through your mind, and then all of a sudden the umpire says play ball, and it's like, oh baby, here we go. So it's a stressful time, but at the same time, you do it because you love it and you love the competition part of it, and you're looking forward to going out there and doing everything you can to help your ball club win a game and put your kids in a position to succeed.
Right.
Coach, I say this all the time when parents ask me some things, and of course I'm coaching younger kids, but when coach,
hey, I do too. I do too. I coach 7s all the way up to 12s. Yeah.
we have a lot of the same headaches, Coach.
That's right.
But I tell people all the time, like, as I said, if you got a question, just ask me. Don't wonder, don't gossip. Just ask me because I'm going to shoot you straight. And the answer more likely is if you hit, you don't sit. If you're asking me why I'm playing so-and-so, it's like, well, this kid's better at third and this kid, it's like, yeah, but this kid at third's hitting.
That's right.
He's hitting tremendously. If you hit, you don't sit. With that being said, putting the right butts in the right seats to start a season as a college head coach, because you've got a lot of things moving. You've got positions in the outfield. You got things going everywhere. And you're like, okay, this guy, he's one of our better hitters. We're going to put him at first, but man, the kid can't catch a cold.
That's right.
I mean, you have those situations.
Sure.
Coach, how do you get the right butts in the right seats? Because it is a gamble. And you're like every other coach after the game, after the weekend. Should I bunt it in the 4th inning on Saturday? Should I have done this? Should I played so-and-so? Did I pull him too early? Did I leave him out there too late? You always will second guess yourself so you can prepare yourself for the next game, next series. But how do you get the right butts in the right seats? And just tell us a struggle that you went through that you got it right or you got it wrong.
That's a tremendous question. And I think that's why September through February is so important, right? That's why you never want to waste a day out on the practice field, right? I would always preach with our guys all the time. Every day is an opportunity to win a job, right? It may be a Tuesday in October and right, it may be cold outside and there's a lot of different reasons why, practice is not going to be fun today, right? Or there's a lot of reasons why we should just stay indoors and hit, but you want to get out on the field as much as possible and create opportunities and create situations to let kids compete, right? You want to have done enough to where those kids can answer those questions during the course of those 5 or 6 months before the opening bullet flies of the season, right? And you hit the nail on the head in terms of a position like first base, right? You know, everybody thinks you could just hide somebody at first base, right? He's gonna hit, put him at first base, right? Well, in reality, you've got a shortstop and a third baseman that are throwing balls across the infield. They probably don't care if that kid gets a hit all year. All I need you to do is catch the baseball, pick the baseball when I throw it in the dirt, give me a really good stretch, give me a good wingspan, like help me out defensively because I'm going to try to hit you in the chest every time, but Lord knows it's not going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just need some help over there. So that's a position, you know, that I think gets overlooked a lot is first base, right?
Right.
I think another position that you realize, and not until you really get into coaching, how truly important it is. It's that position behind the plate, guys. Right? You always think when you watch guys play, you know, a guy's got a great arm and he's throwing missiles to second base, and you're like, God, that's my catcher, right? But in reality, he's dropping balls, he's clanking balls, he can't block the ball, he can't do the things that are maybe necessary to actually catch, right? And so I would tell our players all the time at that spot, the job description of that position is in the name of the position. It is catcher. And I need you to catch the baseball before you do anything else, right? And so a lot of times that's the position where you could get away with being a defensive first type of guy that's going to catch it, block it, control the game, control the pitching staff, be on the same page with the pitching coach and the manager or the head coach in terms of what we're looking to do with that particular guy on the mound, right? So I know that's a long way to answer that question, but September to February is so important because you have got to create positions. You have got to create situations and opportunities for guys to win playing time, of course, a 4 or 5 month period. And then by the time opening day gets there, all those questions should have answered themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out once the bullets start flying, who's ready to compete and who can handle the pressure. And that's why the competition part never stops. And guys are, you know, who you may run out there opening day, it may not look like the same team in June when you're playing in Omaha.
Coach, you coached at Mississippi State there as the head coach. Out of all of the games that you coached there for the Bulldogs, which game means the most to you that you coached in and why?
That is, wow, what a great question. We had so many great wins when we were at Mississippi State, but I think the one that stands out the most is a day's worth of games. And if you rewind the clock back to that regional that year where we had to go on the road, Southern Miss, we went to the Southern Miss Hattiesburg regional, and they were loaded, guys. They were the number 1 seed that weekend. They had future big leaguers all over the field, hostile environment at Pete Taylor Park, and those guys were ready to beat the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And we had battled our way back through the losers bracket. We had dropped our first game in the regional against a really good South Alabama team, battled back where we came back the next day and beat UIC, University of Illinois Chicago, in a really tough ball game where UIC had the bases loaded and we had to bring Riley Self back into the game as who was an All-American that year as a freshman, and he did some tremendous magic and you know, Bulldogs win the ball game, that type of thing. And then we advanced and played South Alabama that night, and we played great, beat a really good South Alabama team, eliminated those guys, and had to come back the next day and beat Southern Miss 2 times in order to advance out of that regional. And it was a really tall task we had in front of us. And we were getting low on pitching and starting to run out of arms. And I gave the ball to JB Billingsley in that first game. And he went out there and went complete game shutout against a really good Southern Miss team.
Right.
and allowed us to get into a winner-take-all one-game championship game. That game had started later in the night because the rain had come all day long and terrible weather. The field was soaking wet. And in a winner-take-all scenario, our guys played tremendous. We played great. We had so many gigantic hits, whether it was Jake Mangum or Ryan Gridley, Brent Rooker. We had so many downtown Cody Brown hits a big home run that night. And we win the ball game. And so we beat Southern Miss 2 times in that day, in the championship day, to win that regional, and go on and play an outstanding LSU team in the Super Regional the very next weekend. But that particular day was probably my fondest memory of being the head coach at Mississippi State, because we did something that nobody was expecting us to do. We did it 2 times in one day. We had so many guys step up and give gigantic performances that day. And I just remember getting back to the hotel later that night, and we had young kids, and my wife Allison had taken our kids back to the hotel to go to bed, and bus pulled up sometime probably around 1 or 2 in the morning, and they met us right there in the hotel lobby, and was able to, experience and share that excitement with them that night in that hotel lobby. And it was just a really good feeling. It was a wonderful day, and one that I will certainly remember forever.
Oh, yes.
Coach, you mentioned Brent Rooker, and he had that phenomenal Triple Crown season.
Yeah.
And as a fan of college baseball, of all of baseball, when someone's having such a special season where they are just playing out of their mind, like, I always enjoy, like, oh, he's in the hole. I'm going to stop everything because I don't want to miss it. If there's 2 quick fly balls, I don't want to miss him stepping up here. But when you are coaching a guy like Brent Rooker, who is playing out of his mind and is just cruising toward that Triple Crown in the SEC, do you talk to him? Do you motivate him? Do you stay away from him? And what do you do when he comes up? Do you mentally take a break? Like, I'm just going to sit back and watch this because I know I'm going to enjoy it. Because that's what I would do.
I think after a certain point, I was just like you, right? He had gotten off to a tremendous start, and was hitting home runs and picking up gigantic hits and playing really good defense at first base for us, which was a brand new position for him. And after about 2 or 3 weeks in the season, I remember turning to our assistant coach, Gary Henderson, and Mike Brown, saying, hey, I really think we may have – this guy may be the National Player of the Year this year. And, he was just a guy that was so locked in, and his makeup and character allowed him to have that kind of season for us. He was a great team leader. He was a guy that never gave an at-bat away. He was a guy that motivated players every single day, and he raised the level of our team that year. And so, yeah, when you talk about, must-see TV and must-watch at-bats, yeah, I never made sure I had to run to the restroom, or I never made sure that I was looking at, binders of, bullpen and who's going to pinch hit. I always stopped what I was doing and made sure I watched him hit, because he did special things that year. Hey, and fellas, fast forward the clock 10 years, he's still doing special things in the big leagues right now. And, 2-time All-Star, Silver Slugger Award winner, signed a gigantic multi-million-dollar contract with the A's, and couldn't be happier for him and his family, for the success that he's having. Am I surprised? Not one bit. Right. It's a makeup and character thing for him, perseverance, because he's a guy that it didn't come easy for when he got to the big leagues. He bounced around 3 or 4 different organizations and teams before he found a home with the A's. And like I said, I mean, he's one of the best hitters, one of the best power hitters in the American League and in all of baseball. And he will certainly be leading that team when they get to Las Vegas in another year or two. And special human, special individual, gigantic fan of Brent Rooker.
Did it shock you when Brent Rooker, and I don't even know if you know the story, but A's fans a couple of years ago put out the little rubber bracelets with being upset with management and ownership there with the A's, and 2 players wore them. One was a rookie, one was Brent Rooker.
Yeah.
Rooker got benched for like a weekend, and the rookie got sent down to AAA for a week or so. Did it shock you when, would that shock you? I don't know if you know anything about that story or not, but did it shock you, or does it shock you hearing that Rooker would wear something like that to let, kind of sided with the fans like, yeah, what you're doing to these fans is wrong. What
Yeah.
we're doing is wrong. We're making bad decisions here. Did that shock you at all about Brent Rooker?
No, I had never heard that story and didn't know anything about it. But no, it doesn't surprise me because he's always a guy that's going to stand up and, do the right thing, and he's going to lead people the right way. And, he's a guy that he certainly very opinionated and, not scared to let people know how he feels about certain issues. Even if it's a political type of thing, right? Where he's kind of spoken out about some things previously, and he's always going to stand up and speak for the right thing. And I think that's just part of the reason why the A's fell in love with him and have invested in him, and is certainly the captain of their team, and they look to him to lead the way, and they're continuing to get better and better, and they're going to be in the playoffs here in another year or two, and he's going to be at the forefront of it.
What? People are sensitive and have views about politics? I never heard about that. What?
Could you imagine?
Coach Cannizaro, I've got 2 questions left for you. The first one, you told, and I've heard this story before, about when you were playing and you were called up to the big leagues, your first at bat there in the big leagues, and how nervous you were. Please tell that story to us here on the Stingray Show.
Yeah, absolutely, guys, and that certainly takes me back to a great memory as well. And I'd gotten called up to the big leagues with the New York Yankees in 2006 and joined them on the road in Kansas City. And a couple of days later, I got my first big league at bat in Baltimore at Camden Yards against the Baltimore Orioles. And so I believe it came like in the 7th or 8th inning, and I'd gone in to play shortstop for Derek Jeter, which I still think about and shake my head. Like, what was I doing going in the game for that guy? But nonetheless, I got a chance to get in the game and got my first major league at bat. And guys, I can't even begin to tell you how not nervous, but how scared I was to step in a big league batter's box for the first time. And it's a moment that you always envision, and you play it through your head. And I'm going to get up there. I'm going to be nice and calm and relaxed. I'm going to take my great swing, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And when I got in the box, I could not stop shaking. I felt like my knees were rattling. I couldn't catch my breath. I was trying to take deep breaths and calm down, right? Do those kind of things. And I could not calm down. I could not stop shaking. I was nervous and scared to death. And I remember I always had the same pre-at-bat ritual where I would tap home plate. I would tap a certain spot on home plate. I would do a couple little tiny little swings, and then I would look up and find the pitcher, right? And so when I did that, I remember being so nervous in the box. And when I turned my head to look at the pitcher, my first at-bat was Brian Burris's first pitch that he had ever thrown in the big leagues as well. So you had 2 guys. I couldn't stop shaking. I was just nervous. And when I looked up at him, he was a left-handed pitcher. His eyes were as big as saucers. I'd never seen a human being with bigger eyes before. And I remember going, I know I'm nervous and I know I'm scared, but that guy's scared to death too. It was like almost a small chuckle and a relief to me that he was more nervous than I was.
Right.
So his first pitch, he missed his arm side and high. Like, he's trying to catch his breath. He's on the mound like, he couldn't calm down. His next pitch was high and wide. His next pitch was high and wide. So we're 3-0, and all these thoughts are going through my brain, right? Like, all I kept thinking about was the movie Field of Dreams and the guy Moonlight Graham from Field of Dreams, where he had one major league at bat, but he walked, and so he wasn't in the official record books of Major League Baseball. I'm on one of the best teams that in the big leagues with Hall of Famers all over the place. I wasn't sure how many at bats I was going to get.
Right.
All I kept thinking was, please do not walk me. Don't walk me. I'm swinging. So 3-0, he throws one that's like chin high, and the umpire calls it a strike. I said, oh gosh, okay. I knew in my mind I was swinging 3-1 no matter where he threw the pitch. He threw another one eye high, and I fouled it off at a pitch I never, ever swing at. He threw the next pitch 3-2 eye high, and I fouled it off, a pitch I never, ever swing at. He couldn't get the ball down in the zone. I couldn't stop swinging. We had an 11 pitch at bat. Finally, on the 11th pitch, he lowered it just a little bit where it was shoulder high, and I hit it down the third base line, and the third baseman, Melvin Moore, dove, knocked it down. The ball rolled into the third base coach's box for an infield hit. So I got a base hit on my first major league at bat. I was swinging at pitches I had never, ever swung at in my whole life, but I could not calm down, and I could not get myself to stop swinging. I'm just fortunate enough he lowered a little bit where I could put the ball in play. So,
have you two ever got together and told your stories?
My grandma was good to go.
Coach, have you two ever got together and talked about that? You and the pitcher?
No, we haven't, but
Steven,
I would love
we're doing that this summer. Coach, you let Steven know when you've got time. If it's tomorrow and you got time, we'll do it tomorrow. But Steven, we need to bring both of them on because we could talk about this at bat for at least 45 minutes.
I know.
It was wild because, guys, I'm telling you, I was nervous and I was scared, man. I will freely admit it. But when I looked out at him, I said, oh, my God, he feels just like me. So it was perfect. It was great.
Who was the pitcher again?
Left-handed pitcher Brian Burris.
Burris, okay.
Baltimore Orioles. Burres, I believe. Yeah.
Steven, we have to make that happen.
Yes.
We have to. Coach, a couple of fun questions. You mentioned that great regional down at Southern Miss that you guys won.
Yeah.
And I remember the hostility. You even said that word when you were talking about it. It was a hostile environment and this and that. But I remember several of the players talking about the treatment they got. And they were like, look, if this regional was in Starkville, you guys would be getting fed afterwards. And, know, and you're taking all these shots at us and you're doing this, and you're being rude to our fans and not letting them get tickets, and school's not selling tickets, this and that. I bring all that up because this past year, it was rumored that Southern Miss was going to host a regional.
Right.
And Mississippi State was going to be a 2 somewhere. And there was a rumor. I cannot confirm it. I cannot deny it. I have no idea. I am on the complete outside. I'm not a reporter anymore, and I'm not chasing stories.
Right.
I proudly say that with a smile. But there was a rumor out there that Southern Miss, during the selection committee, asked, if not begged, do not put Mississippi State in our regional. This has happened twice in the past few years. We don't want that.
Right.
Now, I brought this up to a Southern Miss beat writer. He denied it. He goes, no, that didn't happen at all. No, that's completely false and fake. And I was like, I don't know. If you had to guess, you're on the outside like we are, but you're a former college head coach. And I got to feel both of us have never been in the room with the selection committee.
Right, right.
But I've got friends that have been ADs and things and been in those rooms.
Sure.
Do you think that conversation might, if not probably, happen? Southern Miss asked that Mississippi State not be put in
I guarantee in some roundabout way that message was relayed last year to J.R. Teagues, who was the head of the committee, right? I guarantee whether it was back channeling, whether it was some way, some form or fashion, Southern Miss probably had relayed, hey, listen, send anybody here other than Mississippi State, right? I would take that bet that message was relayed. And that year in 2017, they had it teed up, ready to roll, man. They were ready to make their Omaha run. And I brought a really hungry, energetic Bulldog team to Pete Taylor Park that weekend. And we got after it and got the job done. And they probably didn't want any more of that, you know.
I bet.
Right.
Yeah, Coach, Steve, you got a question?
I do.
Okay, go for it. Go for it. I'll save mine.
So, Coach, on Wednesday, March the 25th, that is the seasoning opening day for Major League Baseball. If you would, since you are a scout for the Dodgers, please give us a preview of what you think the season is going to be like for the
Yeah.
LA Dodgers.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, the Dodgers have created a championship winning culture, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot like the culture that we had talked about earlier that Jim Schlossnagle has built at Texas and going to continue to do. And I'm a firm believer that organizations win championships, right? And I think there needs to be a certain alignment, especially in professional baseball, between the ownership group, the front office group, scouts, player development guys that are going out and identifying championship winning type of baseball players, right? And the thing I think you look at with the Dodgers, and the first thing everybody talks about with the Dodgers is, God, their payroll is so high. They just go out and spend money and buy players and those kind of things. And listen, there's no denying what the payroll is. That's right there in front of everybody. But at the same time, the Dodgers, I believe, have done a better job of identifying winning championship players that have that special makeup and ingredients that are all about winning, right? These guys are sacrificing personal achievements for the glory of the team, basically, right? And there are guys that could have better numbers and hit more home runs and do different things throughout the course of the season in other organizations, but they've chosen to come be a part of what the Dodgers have built, right? And so I think when you look at it this year, obviously the Dodgers won the World Series last year and probably the best World Series in the last 50 or 60 years, right? What an incredible moment for those guys to come back and beat the Blue Jays 2 times in Toronto to win the championship. And especially the way they did it, right? With homers by Miguel Rojas and obviously Will Smith that hits the game-winning home run in the end. And then the play in center field by Andy Pages, who wasn't even in the ball game before the previous inning had started. So, I just think that the Dodgers are hungry. I think they stay hungry. I think they have reloaded once again. I think they have filled some of their, needs and wants in terms of particularly in the back end of the bullpen when they've gone out and signed the closer with the Mets last year. God, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But they've gone out and gotten the best closer in baseball. Edwin Diaz is his name. They've got him in the back end now. They've gone out and gotten Kyle Tucker to play right field for them, which can move Teoscar over to left field. And I just think that they've got great ball players. They're not satisfied with what they've done so far. They're hungry to continue to win. So I would expect the Dodgers to be right there in the end as well. And then when you look around Major League Baseball, there's so many good teams. The Blue Jays aren't going away. They've gone out and signed Dylan Cease this year to increase their pitching staff. And the Yankees are going to be really good again. And, just from a National League standpoint, I would look for teams like the Padres to be super competitive again. And, the Mets have gone out and spent a lot of money. The Phillies aren't going anywhere. So, you got your tomahawk chop going, Stingray. So look for the Braves to bounce back this year and have a big year. And I'm a gigantic fan of Austin Riley at third base for those guys.
I saw him at Subway like 2 Sundays ago. We live in the same town. I didn't say anything to him because I know everyone does.
Hey, he is he's not a kid anymore, but I recruited him really hard to come to LSU when I was at LSU. And he had signed with Mississippi State. And by the time I got to Mississippi State, he was in professional baseball in the minor leagues and picked the phone up and called Austin. And Austin came out on the field and practiced with us every day. He played third base when he was in A-ball and AA. And I had him, in Mississippi State T-shirt and hat every day out there with us, taking his ground balls, getting his work in. And he's a tremendous guy and really happy for the success that he's had and have always pulled for him from day one.
Coach, a very quick follow-up. With LA winning the Major League Baseball World Series last year, with you being a scout, were you able to get a ring?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. So
That's
And where
awesome.
is it? Where is it?
So I haven't received it yet.
Oh yeah, opening day. Yeah, that's
We
right.
get it. All of our scouts and player development guys, we will receive our rings in June. We
Okay.
will go out to Los Angeles for our scout meetings before the draft, and we have a really big ceremony, and they'll present us our rings at that time in June. But yes, and I can't speak highly enough about the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. During that World Series run, they flew my wife Allison and I out to Los Angeles for games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series. We stayed downtown Los Angeles, transportation back and forth to the stadium every day. Great trip for my wife and I, and we got to see great baseball and after parties and those kind of things out in center field, out in the parking lot that were as first class as possible. And they did that for every member of the scouting department and player development and all employees with the Dodgers organization. So I certainly couldn't thank them enough. And it just speaks for, how first class they are and how well they treat their employees. So I love doing what I'm doing. I love the Los Angeles Dodgers organization and couldn't be any happier going to work for them each and every day.
Coach, thank you for saying that.
Oh, of course. It's like I said earlier, organizations win, people win, and from the top to the bottom, can't speak highly enough about the president of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Andrew Friedman, who's a former Tulane graduate and a former Tulane baseball player as well. He is the best baseball guy in the world from a culture building, creating, forward thinking opportunities for the organization to continue to get better and better. And he surrounded himself with great baseball people, business people that run that organization. General manager Brandon Gomes does an incredible job. And then when he comes to my boss, scouting director, Zach Fitzpatrick, that has done a tremendous job acquiring talent each and every year that continues to, flood the major leagues with great young players to help us continue to win world championships. It's great people. It's a great organization, and it's wonderful to go to work for those guys every day.
Coach, we have a lot of people on the show that have won Super Bowls and national titles and this and that. And I always ask them, where do you keep your ring? And a lot of guys like, oh, mom's got it. It's back at home. She's got it locked up somewhere. Some guys are like, oh, it's in my sock drawer. Some guys like, I wear it every day. Some guys like, I break it out for weddings and this very special event. Some guys like, I got it in a safe deposit box and I hadn't seen that thing in 15 years.
And Heath, you remember what Bill Curry said? He said, I've got it right here.
Yeah, Bill Curry went and got it and showed it to us. From Super Bowl I. He showed us his ring, which was very cool.
That's really cool.
He also said he showed it to us, and he said it's my wedding ring.
How about that?
Yeah. But with all that, what guy are you, Coach? Are you gonna leave it in the sock drawer? Are you gonna put it in the safe deposit box? Are you gonna wear it every day? Are you gonna break it out for weddings?
Awesome question. The first thing I'll have to do is probably, I've got a 7-year-old that'll probably steal it and want to bring it to school and show everybody. And then just hope it comes back, or he may trade it for an Aaron Judge rookie, or he may, if I give it to my 12-year-old, he may pawn it off for a Bobby Witt and a Shohei rookie card, that type of thing. But no, it will certainly, it'll be in the house. And next time I'm on your guys' show, I'll put it on and I'll have it for you guys and be able to show you. And but I'll have it in the house, and it's something that my kids are, super excited to see, and it'll probably hang out in their room somewhere, to be honest with you,
Wow.
Yeah.
Coach, the last question I was going to ask you is Mike Bianco. I know he kind of gets a bad rep from Ole Miss fans, but I've always been fascinated with Mike Bianco because I remember what Ole Miss baseball was like before he got there.
That's right.
And I did some camps there as a high school guy, this and that. I don't live that far from Oxford. I'm here in DeSoto County. I'm here in Hernando, Mississippi. And so Bianco came in and just completely changed that program and completely changed that culture. And this is the one thing that people don't talk about Bianco is he when his teams are down and out and you think they are completely done because they look miserable and they're losing games that they shouldn't be losing and they're losing them bad, he is the only coach I have seen who always brings them back from the dead, and he usually does it 2 or 3 times a season, and it blows my mind how he does it. Now, I asked Ben McDonald that question, and he talked about how, he's got a little Skip Bertman that he will put a guy through a situation. He said, you know what, I'll lose this game. I will lose this series, and I will lose miserably, but I'm keeping him out there for this moment.
Right.
And then he builds off of it. It teaches the kid the lesson and builds off of it. He will take the loss. He'll lose the battle so he can win the war.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a decent answer. But I ask you that because all these coaches have all these different approaches.
Yep.
And it always amazes me. And you see a guy like Schlossnagle who's a little bit this and that. Tony Vitello's now with the Giants. I hope you beat the pants off of him every game with the Dodgers. I like Tony, but I also think a lot of Tony what does is for show. And your beard looks a little too perfect when you throw your fit out there. So yeah, but I'll save that for another day. But a guy like Schlossnagle, emotional guy, and then you got like a guy like O'Connor, who's like a methodical guy.
That's right.
Why are these guys so successful with the extreme ways they do it? You know more about this than anybody. Just talk about a guy like Bianco, Schlossnagle, and O'Connor, because those are 3 kind of different guys.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up Mike Bianco. And guys, I'm a gigantic, huge Mike Bianco fan. He's probably my favorite guy in the SEC. Have known him for a really long time. Have a great relationship with him. Have a great relationship with his staff. It goes no further than don't let the Rebels get hot, right? I mean, that was just a couple years ago. And but you hit the nail on the head. Before he got there, Ole Miss baseball was not any good.
Yeah, it was nothing.
They're not good. They were at the bottom of the league. They just weren't any good. It wasn't important there at Ole Miss, and they didn't put the resources and time and money into it. And Mike Bianco has probably done more for Ole Miss baseball than any coach, maybe outside of Ron Polk, has ever done for a sport in the state of Mississippi.
Right. I agree with that.
He's a master motivator. A lot of those things, that he did take, and he has a lot of Skip Bertman in him. And Ben McDonald hit the nail on the head, and those guys would know it well. They played together. They played for Skip Bertman. Mike Bianco, like I said, is a master motivator. He's a guy that knows how to get the most out of each and every kid. Right. And I like what you said in terms of he'll lose the battle to win the war, right? And he knows that he's going to need certain guys at the end of the year to be really good the last weekend of the SEC season, the SEC tournament, interregional, super regional, and Omaha. And so he's all about growth. He's all about development. He wants guys to be as good as they could be at the end, right? And so I'm really glad you brought him up because I am a huge fan of him. And actually, I got a little Ole Miss story for you. Right at the end of the college football season, my wife and I are both graduates of Tulane, and Tulane was in the college football playoffs. So we took our family, we packed up the car, we drove up to Oxford, and we hung out at Hotty Toddy Land for the weekend, and we went to the Tulane Ole Miss football game.
Right.
I called a friend of mine, Carl Lafferty, who's the recruiting coordinator there, and we went and stopped by the baseball field and saw their facility and hung out with those guys. And they did an incredible job with their facility. It's as first class as you could ever imagine. So they've upgraded facilities over there. They're tremendous guys, great people for kids to go play for. Couldn't speak highly enough about Mike Bianco and his staff. And when I was at Mississippi State, it was really hard to say that because everybody wanted me to hate him.
Right.
God, I really like this guy. This guy's awesome, man. So he's a tremendous guy. I pull for him all the time. Master motivator is what I would say. But then you hit the nail on the head. You've got other guys in the league that are super fiery, that are rah-rah guys, that a guy like Tony Vitello that wore his emotions on the sleeve and had his team jumping and celebrating, and they played a lot of the way that he is as a person. And Nagel builds his team in the personality that he is as well. So I think a head coach, that head coach's personality comes out in his team. And I think that's the biggest thing that you could do when you're in charge is be authentic and be official every day with your players and have those guys wanting to play hard for you because they like you as a person and they want to perform and be tremendous for you. And so I think when you develop your team in your own personality, I think that's when you get the most out of them.
Coach, this has been an absolute blast. We really do want to thank you for taking time to join us this morning. Are you attending any baseball games tomorrow or this weekend for the opening weekend of college baseball?
I will be. I've got a high school game tomorrow that I will get to at 3:00 in South Louisiana. I got my times mixed up here. LSU goes at 2:00 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll be at LSU at 2:00, and then I'll see a high school game after that. And then I'll be back at a high school game and back at LSU / Southeastern on Saturday, and just continuing to stack days up with great programs. And I'll be heading to North Carolina the second weekend of the season, where I'll be there for Wake Forest opening weekend. They're another team that's outstanding. They're loaded with tremendous pitching.
Yeah.
So I would look for Wake Forest to be standing there in Omaha at the end of the year. And so, yes, guys, this is an awesome time of year. I love college baseball. I'm a huge college baseball fan. And look forward to being at different SEC ballparks during the course of the season and just seeing the best players in the country get after it each and every day.
Yes.
Coach, I don't like mixing my sports. I don't like mixing apples and oranges, but I'm about to do it. But and I'm having fun in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way.
Yep.
When Terry Bowden was in the studio with ABC Sports with John Saunders, and they would do the halftime show and the pregame show and all that for college football, his brother Tommy was in his first year as head coach at Clemson.
Yep.
And he had won a big game. They beat a team that was ranked. And John Saunders says, "Hey, do you have any advice for your brother Tommy?" And Terry didn't bat an eye. He goes, "Yeah, don't go 12-0 in your first season."
That's right. Don't set those expectations too high now,
So with that, do you have any advice for Brian O'Connor going into his first season? Because you know how crazy Mississippi State fans get about baseball. You know how much they love it, how much they're passionate about it.
Right. That's right.
If you can give O'Connor, Coach Oak, any advice, I mean, he probably doesn't need it, but just having fun with it, what would you tell him?
He certainly doesn't need advice from me. He has been incredible in the college game. Tremendous hire by Mississippi State. Oak is another great program builder, another great culture creator. He's going to do wonderful things at Mississippi State. The thing that the only thing that I would pass along to Oak is that, he hasn't been in home environments where there's 15,000 people on Super Bulldog weekend, right? Where the energy and atmosphere is just at an all-time high, each and every game. The games that he's coached in where those type of fans have been there were really only in Omaha, right? And so I would just say to embrace the Mississippi State culture, embrace the fan support, understand that, the fans there are only hard on you because they want the best for their program, and they're pulling for you, and they want you to do well, and they want their program to do great things. So I would just say embrace it. Be comfortable in performing and playing in front of gigantic crowds, because it's never going to stop. Just do the things that he's done his whole entire career that have made him successful. He's going to do wonderful there. Like I said, tremendous hire. I wish him nothing but the best of luck, and look forward to him and his staff doing wonderful, gigantic things in Starkville.
Hey, I got a yes and no question for you, Coach.
Yep.
Super Bulldog weekend this year is going to be LSU.
Oh, that place will be electric, rocking.
The yes/no question is there more than 15,000 for all three games?
Yeah, sure. Let's call it Let's say they have a total of 50 grand by the end of the weekend.
I think that is very fair to say.
One way or another, there'll be 50,000 people that walk through that turnstile for a 3-game weekend. Yeah, that place will be rocking, electric. And listen, man, the Tigers are good. The Tigers are really good. And they're going to be, when the Tigers come to town, they'll be ready to play. And they'll run some real arms out there with tremendous position players. And, I would expect it to be 27 innings at a minimum of high level Division I college baseball, where both teams are probably capable of winning a national championship.
I think it was 1997. I'm almost positive it was. I was a student. LSU came in ranked number 1. I think State was either 3 or 4, but it was a top 5 matchup.
Yeah.
State took 2 or 3 of LSU. Should have took all 3. They didn't. Took 2 or 3, and State fans were beside themselves when the polls came out that Monday, and they were still shocked to see LSU in front of them.
Yeah.
And I think State moved up to maybe 3 and LSU dropped to 2, but fans were beside themselves. Fans wanted a rematch in Omaha. They didn't get it, and LSU went on to win the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So
a lot of tradition.
Do me a favor, if you would.
Yes, sir.
I am located here in Tuscaloosa. I was born and raised. If you do come to Tuscaloosa for a series, text me and let me know so that we can catch up, okay?
I will for sure let you guys know. I will let you know if I get over. Is it still called Titletown? Is that where it is? Is it still Titletown for you guys?
Well, even though they haven't won a title since 2000 yet, it's still Titletown.
Oh, it's only been 5 years, 6 years.
Oh, no.
Heaven forbid. The world is ending.
Kalen DeBoer out of town already.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
So,
Coach, I would tell you to text me if you're ever in the Memphis area, but I'm going to be coaching 3 teams. I got 4 kids, and I'm going to be miserably busy. But I will send you dining requests. I'll tell you where to go eat.
Perfect. Sounds great. Fellas, listen, man, thank you guys for having me on. Really enjoy coming on your program. Love that you guys want to stay in touch and continue to talk the game. And, wish you guys and your show the best of luck and look forward to a great college baseball season.
And Coach, I don't say this very often, but for you, go Dodgers.
That's right. Go Dodgers. Yes, indeed.
Hey, Coach, I didn't get to talk about it. I'm still, every time I see you, I will apologize for running an off-tackle slant and putting my shoulder in your chest after your first win at Mississippi State after the game underneath the bleachers.
My chest is still bruised, man. I still have a bruise mark on my chest. Later.
You fake news, Coach. You fake news.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, Heath, that was phenomenal. All right, we really do want to thank Coach Cannizaro for joining us. And Heath, we are going to finish the Stingray Show with 2 more interesting sports facts about this day. We are not going to end on a death, so we will begin with a person who died on this day in 2000. We are changing sports to the National Football League. He is regarded as one of the greatest and most innovative coaches of all time, and he created many new formations, such as the 4-3 defense. He coached 29 years for one team, the Dallas Cowboys. Who am I talking about?
You're talking about God's coach, Tom Landry.
Yes. He died on February the 12th of 2000.
It's crazy. That's what people used to call him. God's coach, God's favorite coach. Oh, that's God's coach. That's Tom Landry.
Yeah.
He was a man of faith. He was a man of high morals. He was a man of great respect. And he was one excellent football coach. Completely changed the Dallas Cowboy organization, turned it into America's team. And they're still called America's team because of Tom Landry.
Yes.
And what did Jerry Jones do when he got there? Fired the man.
Yeah.
It's crazy to look back at all that. A lot of people in Dallas were just thinking that Jerry Jones was the devil. of firing Tom Landry and thought this would never work. And then a couple of years later, we saw that great Cowboy dynasty, one of the greatest dynasties of NFL history. But crazy to think about. But yeah, Tom Landry. I had an Uncle Bill, played college football, and Uncle Bill got me a book, a Tom Landry book. I was like in third grade. I wasn't into reading books. I was
Right.
more into shooting a BB gun and doing everything outside. And anyway, he started reading that book. He gave it to me for Christmas. I think my aunt got it for me. He didn't have a clue what I was getting for Christmas. And he started reading that book, and he said, "Hey, you mind if I finish reading this book and give it back to you the next time we see each other?" I was like, "Sure." I
He
never
never
got
goes
that book back. And now I'm a big reader, and I want to read that book, and I have no idea what book it was.
Right.
So I might just spend all my time reading Tom Landry books. There's probably 24 of them out there. But yeah, God's Coach is one of the books about Tom Landry.
Heath, think about this. He had an NFL record that probably still holds true today of 20 consecutive winning seasons.
Oh, yeah.
20.
Tom Landry was so good. And I want to say it was his idea. It may not have been, but I want to say it was his idea.
Yeah.
But they started the business class of seats for fans. We now know them as sky boxes, luxury boxes, but the Dallas Cowboys were the very first team to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're winning at a high level, man, and we all know that Texas has got Texas money. They got all that oil money. They got that cattle money. They got big money in Texas.
Yes.
And when you winning at a high level for the Dallas Cowboys, and you're doing things like business class, and that's just everyone trying to one up everybody. And man, so much money was flooding into that organization back then. But yeah, one thing about Tom Landry that I was always blown away with, Stephen, there was I forgot what little town he lived in outside of Dallas. He lived like in one of the suburbs around Dallas. Big, beautiful Methodist church there. They said Tom Landry was at church every time the doors open.
Right.
He was there on Sunday. He was there on Wednesday night. Now, of course, when the season started, he would miss some. But, after practice on Wednesday, Tom Landry was at church.
Yes.
And they said during the offseason, Tom Landry was at church. I want to say he was the first coach to have a team chaplain.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong on that. But, yeah, Tom Landry, man, you can't say enough good things about Tom. You won't ever hear anything bad about Tom Landry. That's what I'll say. And if you ever see his retirement parade after like 2 or 3 losing seasons, most people are happy to see you get out of town. Dude, it looked like a Super Bowl parade.
Right.
It looked like a Super Bowl parade to tell Tom Landry goodbye. Crazy.
Heath, today's show was featured baseball. We just threw in football. We will end with what? Basketball. We got all 3 sports in today. Today is the birthday of a guy who was born in 1934. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2022. He is a Hall of Famer who played center for the Boston Celtics from 1956 to 1969, and he was a part of the dynasty that won 11 NBA championships during his 13-year career. He was a 5-time NBA MVP and a 12-time NBA All-Star.
Bill Russell.
Correct. So today is the birthday of legendary basketball player Bill Russell.
And if I'm not mistaken, Bill Russell played with Bailey Howell. Bailey Howell, probably the most famous basketball player to ever play in Mississippi. He's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He was part of those great Celtic teams back in the day. Played at Mississippi State. But, yeah, the great Bailey Howell played for the legendary Red Auerbach with the Boston Celtics along with Bill Russell there, and they won many championships.
And Heath, fun fact and incredible fact of the day, Russell, standing 6'10" tall, with an arm span of 7 foot and 4 inches. His shot blocking and man-to-man defense were a major reason for the Celtics' dominance during his NBA career.
Mm-hmm.
7 foot 4 inch wingspan at a 6 foot 10 inch tall man.
Yeah. Those guys, man. Phil Jackson, the great coach for the Chicago Bulls and the LA Lakers. And he was a great basketball player himself. I think he played for the Knicks back in the day. But they talked about Phil Jackson's arms were so long, he could sit in the back seat of a limo and open both doors at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
That's how long his arms were.
Right.
And I'm sure Bill Russell could easily have done it too. But just imagine sitting in the back seat of any car and opening up one door with your arms. He could sit in the back seat of a limo and push both doors all the way open. That's how long his arms were. That's insane.
All right. You want to do one more? You want to do one more?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to politics. Can you tell me who's the birthday of today? In 1809, he was the 16th president of the United States.
Lincoln was our 14th president, wasn't he? Or was he 16th? I know Lincoln was born in February. I want to say Lincoln was our 14th president. So was that Michael Van Buren? Was it Van Buren?
Lincoln.
It was Lincoln. Okay. I couldn't remember. I remember Lincoln was either 14 or 16. I could not remember which. But Lincoln was our 16th president. Correct? Okay.
Now, you want to hear something funny to end the Stingray show?
Absolutely.
Lincoln was the first U.S. president to bring a pet cat into the White House. Secretary of State William Seward gave him 2 kittens, in which he named Tabby and Dixie. And this is what Lincoln said about his cat. Dixie is smarter than my whole cabinet, and furthermore, she doesn't talk back.
Lincoln was not a popular president.
Right.
Even after he got elected, he wasn't popular. There was a lot of people upset because they thought he stole the election, and not by cheating, just how he got nominated. He sent his own people in to get the seats, and how they nominated back in the day.
Yeah.
It's completely different. And he made sure they were vocal and loud, and they sat in a certain section. He had other people in other sections. You can Google all that and look at YouTube videos and all that. But they thought he kind of stole the nomination, and then he barely got elected.
Yeah.
And then everything that happened. So, Lincoln never was like that much, but yet he is celebrated. I would argue that he celebrated more than George Washington.
Right.
But we could easily say those two are the most celebrated presidents.
Yes.
Washington and Lincoln. But it's crazy to see of how time has treated Lincoln over the years. Hey, Stephen, randomly, there was a movie, I don't know, this could have been 8, 10, 12, 15 years. I can't remember. There was a movie called Lincoln, the vampire, Lincoln Lawyer, the Vampire Killer, or something like that. And it was a movie of Abraham Lincoln back in the day killing vampires.
It was the Witch Hunter. Abe Lincoln, the Witch Hunter.
Yeah, what in the world was that about?
I have no idea, but I've seen it. I've heard about it.
I actually watched it. I don't remember her. I remember I watched it when I was sick. I was home from work. I was sick as a dog. I watched it, and I was like, "What am I watching?" I was like halfway through that, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to finish it. I'm halfway through. I can't quit."
Right.
But Stephen, here's a fun question: has there ever been a movie that you got up and walked out of? Like it was so bad, like I'm done with this. I'm not going to watch it.
No.
I've always sat there. It's like, I've paid my money. I'm going to finish this.
I will tell you one that I really did not like, and I came close, but I was like, no. Was Matthew McConaughey's Mud.
I don't even remember that.
Matthew McConaughey's Mud was a drama. That one almost put me to sleep. It was so boring.
I remember Biodome with Pauly Shore and one of the Baldwin brothers. I can't remember which.
Right.
But I remember wanting to leave the theater. Like, this movie is stupid. Like, I will not watch another. And I like Pauly Shore, but I will not watch another Pauly Shore. I have not seen a Pauly Shore movie since then. People are like, oh, you didn't see? I think it was like Son-in-Law. Like, nope, you didn't see? And they named some other. I'm like, nope, I'm not watching any Pauly Shore movies.
Right.
Not going to do it.
All right. So, Heath, that is it. We're done with the Marathon Stingray show today. We have gone an hour and 45 minutes, but Heath, it has been a blast with Andy Cannizaro talking all things college baseball. Tomorrow, the season begins, and we will continue our talks of SEC baseball and touch on a little SEC basketball as we will be joined on the Friday edition with Chris Lee of Southeastern 16 to get you guys ready for Alabama and Washington State. Another big matchup in the SEC this weekend will be Arkansas and Arizona State. Arkansas and Oklahoma State in a big baseball weekend, and then a full slate of games of basketball on Saturday. And we will see you on the Fun Friday edition of the Stingray Show, talking basketball and baseball. And hopefully we will have a decision later today about Trinidad Chambliss and the NCAA, because that is ongoing right now down in Pittsburgh, Mississippi. So
that's what I was looking at. I was
Yep.
looking at the updates. They have not done anything. This is going longer than they thought.
Yes.
They thought this would kind of be open and shut and really quick. Someone popped up. Someone just took the stand. I can't remember who.
So hopefully we will have a verdict by then tomorrow, but we
Mhm.
will be back at 8:30 in the morning talking more college baseball, more college basketball, and fun things right here on the Stingray Show. We hope that you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it with this marathon with Coach Andy Cannizaro, but it has been a blast, and we will catch you on the Friday edition.
Hey, Steven, maybe we can bring David Johnson on from 365 and just let him talk briefly
Yes.
about the Trinidad thing. That will be settled here shortly. I talked to David yesterday, and he thought that this would kind of be done.
Right.
I think they thought that it would be done within like 30 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's going a whole lot longer than that, because I want to say they started at 8:30 this morning.
Well, Heath, you know how lawyers get, man.
Yeah. So I think they thought they were going to be done by like 9:30, 10.
Right.
So they're about a half hour over schedule. It doesn't like they're anywhere close to wrapping up. So
Right.
we'll see what happens. But there is going to be national implications on this for other cases.
Yes.
This is why this one's such a big deal. That's why a lot of people are in Pittsburgh, Mississippi. The college football world has a lot of eyes in Pittsburgh, Mississippi. They're in Calhoun County just to see what's going to happen here. And there is very strategically why this was done in Mississippi. And and for Ole Miss, it was very strategic to have it in Calhoun County there in Pittsburgh. So, there's a lot of things going on there. But, I can't wait to see the outcome of this. I expect Trinidad to be cleared, but I'm just kind of shocked. He's been shot down on 2 appeals. So this is insane, man. This is insane. So we'll see. Hey, there's a guy from Montana, plays for University of Montana, the Montana Grizzlies. His 9th year. Now he's been injured for most of that, but he got his undergrad degree and a master's degree in business. I don't know if it was an MBA or whatever it was. But he got 2 degrees, and then he's transferred to Montana, and he's in school there getting some certificate for something. So at least he's getting educated. But yeah, his 9th year. What was that, Ferris Bueller? 9 times. 9 times.
And then Trinidad Chambliss is trying to get a 5th year, and it's been denied.
It's actually a 6, but yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that the NCAA doesn't cherry pick who they say yes and no to. But we'll get into that tomorrow.
I was about to say, if we had a producer or a DJ, he could play Jimi Hendrix if 6 was 9, and we could leave the show on that.
Yeah. All right, Heath. See you guys tomorrow on the Fun Friday and the
Fried Bologna Friday
edition of the Stingray Show. Have a great one out there. It is going to be a beautiful day across all of the Southeast. Get out and enjoy it, and we will have an update on the Trinidad Chambliss situation for you guys tomorrow. Also, Chris Lee.
There you go. Sayonara. We will see you tomorrow.
It's a new year, and now is the best time to review your insurance policies. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi. For all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha Insurance to create a customized plan to protect your family's home and autos. You can stop by his office at 3428 McFarland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or simply call 205-462-8192, or call the number on your screen right there. And remember, with Alpha Insurance, the more you protect it, the more you save. Reach out to the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha today for all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do you a brisket blend. We'll do you a chuck blend. We'll do you a sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show.